Hi again from the garden. It's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So it is mid-June and I am out here finally getting my main dahlia patch planted. I'm a little behind this year, but I do have all of the hoop house dahlias planted. So those should be ahead of these, which will be just fine. So while I am planting these today, I just wanted to kind of document this process and show you guys how I plant my dahlias as far as spacing, soil amendments, all of that good stuff. Now in my hoop house, which at the end of the video will pop out in there and just take a look at all that. I know some are starting to come up, so we'll take a look at that. That has maybe 40 dahlias in it or so, but the dahlias that I have left, I have a big box here from Gray Girl Farms, and it looks like 5, 10, 15. Looks like I have about 45 to 50 dahlias in here. Now this was a wholesale order, so I have a variety of different colors of dahlias and then 5 of each. And so this will be really fun to have some really good producers in the garden. And then I have a box of tubers that I saved over the winter. I think they did just fine. Can you see the growth on that? This one is a Karma Amira. And so we'll go through this box too and see how these stored. I can see growth points on a lot of these, so they're looking really good. So I have this box of what I stored, and I have no idea how many is in here. I am figuring out in this area, I probably have room for maybe 100 dahlias. We'll see. I didn't measure it exactly, but let me take you over there and just show you the area that I'm going to be planting these in, and then we'll start getting it prepped and planted, and I'll show you my whole entire process. Okay, so we're in the fenced-in garden area, and we're going to go way down to the west end here. And this is the area that all of my dahlias are going to go in. Now you can see I need to do a little bit of prep. There's a few weeds in here. And this little patch of dahlias right here, these are all of the ones that I took cuttings from to create new plants over the winter. So I have quite a few planted here. They're looking really good. But this whole area is going to be filled with dahlias. I'm going to start at this end and work my way this way. And then over on the end here, if I have any extra space, then I will take advantage of that to plant something else. This volunteer sunflower, I'm sorry to say, he's going to have to go because it's just getting a little too big. I have enough volunteer sunflowers over on the edge here to create a little bit of, I don't know, create a little color earlier in the season, although I can see that they're getting eaten by grasshoppers. But this guy's gonna go. I need to clear the weeds, and then I also need to get some landscape fabric down for some pathways. So I think I'm first gonna do that, and then I will go ahead and show you how the layout is gonna be and all the soil amendments that I'm gonna use. Okay, so my planting area is all laid out. I have 3 full planting beds, and then over towards the end there's about a foot that was just left over. If I have enough dahlia tubers, I will fill that with just a single row, or I have some lily bulbs that need to be plugged in the ground. I'm hoping that all of my dahlia tubers fit in these rows, and then I can just pop the lilies in the end, but we will see. So I have 3-foot planting rows and 2-foot walkways. And within my planting row, I have 2 rows of dahlias, and they are spaced 18 inches apart this way, and then the row itself is 12 inches apart this way. So I'm hoping I can fit about 26 to 28 dahlias in each of these rows. I have a little planting area left here. And now that I say that out loud, I don't think I'm going to have room for those lilies at the end. I think that's going to be all single tubers. But anyway, I also am going to be amending the holes when I plant these dahlias. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig all of my holes first, throw the amendments in, and then make my tags and pop the dahlias in second. So my dahlias I'm planting about 4 to 5 inches deep into the soil. So I'm going to dig my hole probably about 6 inches deep. I'm going to throw in a little scoop of composted manure. I'm going to throw in some biotone fertilizer, and then I'm also going to be throwing in some organic blood meal. And these are going to be some really good nutrients for the tubers because they are very heavy heat feeders. Once I throw those in, and I will show you guys all this, I'm going to lay the dahlia tuber on its side, cover it with soil, and then I am not going to water it in. If dahlias get planted in soggy soil, they have a chance of rotting, and so you just want to plant them in the ground. Once you see them sprouting, then you water them. So, with all that said, I'm going to lay my tape measure down. I'm going to dig all of my holes, throw in the amendments, and then I will hop back on here, show you exactly how I place the dahlia tuber in the hole, and we'll see how many dahlias I can get planted in this space. Okay, so I've got all of my wholesale dahlias planted. That filled up this whole space and part of this one. So I am in the process of unwrapping all of the dahlias that I saved over the winter, and I wanted to go ahead and show you guys that. But here is kind of a close-up of what the hole looks like, and I will show you exactly how I plant these two. But basically, I'll nestle them down in here, and then in here is the blood meal, the composted manure, and the biotone starter fertilizer. But I want to go show you some of the dahlia tubers that I'm unwrapping. All right, so I'm under my pergola, and I have my box of dahlia tubers. Well, one of them that I am unwrapping. Half of them went in the hoop house already. But if you saw my dahlia storage video, I tried it a couple different ways. The first way that I tried was wrapping them in saran wrap, and this is the method that I had done before, and it worked great. But it's a little bit time consuming. It uses a lot of saran wrap, which is a plastic material. So I wanted to try it a different way. So I took totes and filled them with pine chips and then nestled the clumps down in the pine chips. You had to moisten the pine chips, otherwise they were just too dry. It kind of worked. Some of the layers worked. The top layer dried out too much and I lost a bunch of tubers. I really found that I had to be misting it all of the time. So I do not think I will do that method ever again. I think if I try a different method, it will be vermiculite, but really the saran wrap method works great for me. And you know, I didn't even use a whole roll, but the saran wrap method worked the best. So what I'm doing is I'm unwrapping all of these, and I can pretty much see growth on all of these. Now I have opened a couple clumps that have had a little bit of rot on them, like on one tuber, and I cut that off, but then the rest of it was fine. So this one says KA. I'm thinking this is Karma Amira because I just planted one of those. And this is looking pretty shriveled. This was probably too dry in the pine straw or the pine chips. But it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 growth points. So I'm going to go ahead and plant this. Let me open up another clump for you guys, but I want to go ahead and mark this tuber first. And to mark them, I'm just using these plastic little marker stakes, and then I'm using a garden marker, which is linked below on my Amazon link. Do not use a Sharpie because it will wear off over the season. You want to make sure to use a garden marker. So I'm just going to write Karma Amira. I'm going to lay it next to that clump. In case I have others, I can put them together and just use one tag and put like 2 with an arrow so I know it's going that direction. All right, let's open black satin. There's supposedly 3 in here. Let's see what these look like. All right, here's one tiny one. It has growth points. I'm telling you, this saran wrap method seems kind of weird, but it seriously works. There's another little one with a growth point. These look perfect. They are completely firm. Here's a tuber that has, or a clump that has 2 tubers, 2 growth points, and another eye starting. And they are super, super firm, not hard at all. So with that one, I'm going to write black satin. I'm going to put an arrow for the direction that it's going, and I'm going to put 3 so that I know those 3 plants are black satin. All right, let's go get these planted in the ground, and I'm going to show you how I put it in the hole and how deep they go. Okay, so here's the 3 tubers that I just pulled out, and they're going to go in these 3 holes. So I'm just going to nestle it down. I'm laying it on its side, but I want the growth point to go up. And then I'm just filling it in and smoothing out the dirt. So this one, I'm going to nestle it down in. Whoops. On its side with the growth point up. Break up those clumps a little bit. This clod is huge. There we go. All right. And then this third one, nestle it in, growth point up, cover it up. Break up some of these clods. They're damp, so they break up pretty good. All right. These 3 are done. Here's my marker. So I'm going to put it right here. And then I know that there's 3 black satin plants right there. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of this whole area planted, and I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so all my dahlia tubers are finally planted. What a good feeling. The first row where my seedlings were, I finished that row out with 4 or 5 extra dahlias. And then this row and this row each have 26. And so that gives me a total of 52 plus 4, about 56 dahlias in this spot, plus the 40 that I already have in the hoop house. So I have close to 100 dahlias, which is really exciting. Now, the very last row that you can probably see on the edge of the camera that is about a foot wide, I had a few extra tubers, but I ended up not popping them in the ground because I think they weren't favorite varieties last year. And I decided I would rather just use that space to pack some lilies in really close. I actually have on each corner a little hill of pumpkins that will branch out into the rock that goes that way. So I think that will be perfect, not fill it with dahlias. I will just pack the lilies that I have in there and it'll be great. And the whole garden is now planted, which I can't even believe I'm saying. Thank goodness. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this video and how I plant my dahlias. I will make sure to give you guys updates on this patch when they are all planted. One other thing I do want to do is take you into the hoop house and show you how those are looking. Okay, so here we are in the hoop house. For those of you that saw my last video, this middle row is planted full of dahlias, and they were planted, maybe just a week and a half ago at the very most, but I see some action here. There is one that is coming up. This is a Ferncliff Copper. And I see a couple really small ones on the other side, but over here, here's a little cluster of Joey Morella. I see Diva coming up right there, and I see a Joey Martina right there. But over on the other side, just from a distance, well, that's a weed, I can see at least 5 or 6 more popping through the soil. So now that I see some popping through the soil, you can tell right here, I have watered this in. Once you see them pop through the soil, you can start watering them in. Most of the dahlias in here are single varieties that I ordered new this year from different growers, of some hard to find ones, some really popular ones that sell out right away. So I am so excited to grow a lot of these varieties, and I am excited to see how these compare to the ones that are actually planted out in the garden. One quick look at one of my snapdragons. This is the Costa Apricot, one of my favorites. This needs to get harvested and go in the fridge. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. Again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I plant my dahlias. I'll keep you guys updated throughout the season, so stay tuned. We'll see you soon.